Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody is having a wonderful morning. Yes, Mr. Chalampaga, I hope I said it correctly. We'll go ahead and put that into the chat right now. Just some reminders before we get started. Today you joined with You're Off to Great Places with Google Tips. So we're going to be going over some Google tips and tricks. Some reminders, please be sure to mute your microphone. Feel free to turn on your camera to participate and be sure to use the chat to ask any questions that you have throughout the presentation. Yes, and join our Mentimeter. But we'll go over that right now too. So let me go ahead and put the remote check-in code into the chat. So the remote check-in code for today, if I could find any of my tabs, will be in the chat. It is 811-625-999. Ms. Miller did put the registration link for the staff development website in there. So we'll give you all a couple of minutes to go ahead and be sure that you've registered and to check in using the remote check-in code. Again, it is on the staff development website, which can be found on ClassLink. While you all are registering, I'm going to go ahead and share a tab of the staff development website. There are other sessions occurring today that are Dr. Seuss themed. Hopefully everybody saw the flyer. So right now it is 10:15. This afternoon, we do have a session for Your Mountain is Moving with Digital Tools for Littles. There's another session on digital escape rooms. And again, those repeat at 1 and then 2:45. So you can attend, there's still time to attend both. If you have some time, I highly encourage you to go. They're going to be wonderful sessions. The way that I found this was in the calendar of the LISD staff development website. No, I'm not logged in. I was logged in. So again, in the calendar. We'll go ahead and move on. Hopefully everybody used the remote check-in code. Oh, here it is, the calendar. And you can see March 4th. These are the different sessions happening today. So let me go ahead and share over here. So again, you've joined our presentation. You're off to great places with Google Tips. The bit.ly is in the chat so that you can see the presentation for yourself. My name is Vanessa Silva. I've been in education for 8 years. I taught at the elementary level for 3.5 years, different subjects and couple of different grade levels. Then I transitioned to the middle school where I've been for 4.5 years in the capacities of science teacher and DLS. And I love getting to know new programs, new technology apps and programs, I'm sorry.
Jennifer Miller. I am a CIS at Alma Pierce Elementary. I'm on my 15th year of teaching, I believe, 12 years in elementary, 3 years in middle school. And I love helping others and I love technology. And so I found the perfect job. And if you have any questions, please feel free throughout the lesson, throughout the session, to put your questions in the chat. We will be here and both of us will answer while one of us is presenting. So please feel free to chime in at any time and any tips or anything that you all have found that you really enjoyed, please feel free to put it in there and let us all know. This is what it's all about. Thank you so much for joining us.
So we're going to go ahead and frame the lesson. As a group, we will learn about Google tips, tricks, extensions, and tools. And then individually, you will be organizing your tabs, your Google Drive folders, and practicing some fun Google tips and tricks. So we're going to be doing a little bit of practice here and there. Light work, I promise. I know that it's early, even though it's 10 on a Saturday morning. So we'll go ahead and make light work of it. So this is our agenda. We're going to first be going over Google Hacks, so bookmarks, folders, tabs, and favorites. Then we'll go into Google search tools, Lens, fact check, reverse image search, then Google communication tools, and then finally some miscellaneous stuff and the Q&A. But first, I'll go ahead and put it in the chat as well. But if you all could join our Mentimeter just for some questions, let me go ahead and put it in the chat.
There you go.
Okay, so it is a question. It's going to present to you. It's going to ask, what 3 words would you use to describe what Google has to offer? And I've let you all join the one that our earlier crowd had as well, just so that we can see our word cloud get a little bigger. I'm going to go ahead and share it, and we'll give you a minute or so to answer that question. And so you can see it moving as it goes with the different answers. So a couple of things that people have answered already, things like Google is useful, practical, brilliant. It could be used for communication. It's resourceful. So this is a word cloud. So the bigger the word is, the more it's been used. So most people think Google is very useful and efficient. But these are all wonderful answers. And I agree with all of them.
Can I chime in 1 second?
Yep.
One of the words that I see there is daunting, and I totally agree with that. When you don't, especially if you don't mess around too much with technology or on the internet, it is very daunting. And our session for today is kind of, we're going to try and take away that feeling of it being so much, and hopefully that you will, after this, you have that feeling that, you know what, it is easy rather than daunting, and it is versatile and resourceful, but you will have a better feeling that it's not too much all thrown at you, and instead we're going to try and make you feel more comfortable with Google and all of its tools.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Very well said. I'm going to go ahead and move on, guys. Thank you all so much for answering in our Mentimeter. Let me go ahead and share this tab. So Ms. Miller and I firmly believe that you can make Google work for you. And just by doing simple little, we're going to call them hacks or tips and tricks, right? You can make Google help you in a lot of different capacities. So this one in particular, adding bookmarks to your Google landing page. Google's been a little fickle and cruel today. So let's see if it'll work for me. Yes. So as you can see, I'm signed in. And here at the bottom, there's a bunch of different shortcuts. So things like Frontline, DMAC, Skyward, things that I visit on a regular basis. But if there's something here that I wanted to add that doesn't show up, all I have to do is click this plus sign here, add shortcut. I give it a name. So this, I'm going to type in as LISC, and then you put in the URL. So I typed in the web address, essentially. If you don't know the web address, you can get it from the Google Omnibar. So then you would click done. And now you can see that it's added that shortcut. And if I click on it, it's going to go straight to that web page. So you can see that after clicking on it, I'm here on the Laredo ISD web page. And that's just one of the ways that you can make Google work for you, rather than having to remember a bunch of different websites, or having to Google search every time you need something. If it's something you use all the time, just throw it up there in the Google shortcut. Let me go back to the presentation.
I'm gonna feed off of that, and I'm gonna share my window real quick. And I want to show you something that I found that works really well for my teachers, for myself, and hopefully this will help you again to not feel so like it's so much. I tend to bookmark a lot of the pages that I use all the time. So we showed you some bookmarks that you can get right away. But I use this when I know I'm preparing for a class and I have different activities. But I also need it for daily activities. So I've seen this bookmark bar filled. I've seen it empty and I've seen it filled with this little double arrows and it going all the way down and then some, because we save all these pages. What I want to show you is a way to make sure that you make it more organized, more accessible. Again, fast, quick. I don't have time, right, in class to waste. So I want to show you in our bookmarks, when you go to the 3 dots here on the side, and you can see my bookmarks bar, right, Vanessa? Yay, okay. So I have my bookmarks, and then I'm going to go to my bookmark manager. And you notice that they give you shortcuts, Control-Shift-O. I never remember things that I don't use very often, but I know it's accessible here. So I have my bookmark manager.
Kind of like, there we go. Okay, I was gonna say kind of froze in place, but it moved.
Okay, good. Thank you. So in my bookmarks manager, you might not have obviously all of these bookmarks, but we can add folders, and it'll have what essentially everyone has is automatically a bookmarks bar and then other bookmarks. And that's all you'll have. And then you'll have all your websites that you've ever saved there on there. So what I want to try and give you an idea of is you can add a folder. You're going to add a new bookmark. That's if you already know the website you're going to go to, or add a new folder. In this case, I want to add a new folder. And I'm going to tell you one that I found worked for me. I did this whether I was a teacher or it didn't matter what subject, grade level. But I have a bookmark bar that's called Just Dailies. And these essentially are what I have to get into absolutely every single day. So for my teachers' attendance, Skyward, grades, you would have your email, class link. Those are, and your Google Classroom. So 4 major websites that you get into absolutely every single day, just because we have to. So something like that, those are the ones that I would save in my dailies, and that's what's going to go up there. Obviously, I have a little bit more just because depending on your job. So if you have something that you know for sure you're going to get into every day, the dailies is one thing that I keep as a folder that I know, it's accessible right at the top, right where I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to have exactly where I need to go to every day, and I can automatically access it. So I can go into my email from there. And see all of that, but it's essentially something that I can have, and I'll have a tab just for that. You can have them open up your bookmarks, like when you open up your new window, you can have it to where it automatically opens up these 5 websites, and you can ask your TIS DLS to how to set that up for you, but essentially it's on your settings on your Google Chrome. And when you get to that, so I have my bookmarks and my bookmarks manager, and if I want to save a new website, so I have a Pandora up here because I'm constantly listening to music, right? And I want to put it into something else. So I have Pandora up here. I'm going to put it under my dailies. So all your websites, this is how easy it is to move all of the websites that you have available to you. Just take that once you made a folder and you can slide it into that new folder. And now it will be, it will come out onto your dailies folder. And rather than having a line of a bunch of them and having to go look for it. Something else that you should know is that you can delete any programs, apps, websites that you don't use anymore. Feel like, you know what, I'm not going to use this anymore. It didn't work for me. I tried it. It didn't work. I don't like it. You can remove them a couple of different ways. You can go to that and you can go to the 3 dots and then just hit delete. Or if you're in the actual program and you say, you know what, I don't use Seesaw anymore. It's not part of our programs. I'm just going to go ahead and take it and delete it from there. And you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I deleted something. We can look it up again and you can add it in by just going to that particular website and saying, let's see, I need laredoift.org. I want to bookmark this page. I can bookmark it. And now I have different folders that I can go into and I can choose where I want to put it in. So every time that you now, once you make your folders, you can put the different websites in it. Depending if you teach little kids, if you teach the high school, do your different subject areas, you can have these with different titles. When I was, in elementary, I had a reading folder, a math folder. I had my folders for my different subject areas. When I was teaching science, I had the different concepts in there. I had one for games. I had one for independent activities. So depending on how you feel most comfortable with organizing, it's kind of like you are organizing your file box in your classroom or the way you organize your stuff in your classroom. Essentially, we want you to feel the same way, that you have an organized way that makes it easy, quick, fast, efficient to use the internet, and you don't feel like it's so much. And this is one of those ways, is to keep it kind of organized so that it's easy access. So that's the main thing. Same thing, one thing that I will tell you, my teachers that have problems with the new document cameras or the equipment that is available, or something that they're using, their computers are running slow, the projectors are not working, it's not showing the videos on time. All of those things mostly are affected by our memory space in our computer. And I can't show you I guess I could show you, stop presenting, show you my entire screen, but we tend to have, a lot of stuff on our desktops, and we save on our computers. If you can, try and make a folder, right? And put all that stuff in that folder. And then what you're going to essentially do is go to your drive. And when you go to your drive, you can upload that folder. And I'm going to just click on new, and I'm going to upload that folder. And you can pick it. I have 22-23 school year. I can upload that entire folder and put it on my drive. And what I'm going to then do is delete it from my desktop. Why do I say this? Because we have absolutely 100% unlimited space in our Google Drive. And we can use all of that space on the internet and not use it on our computer so that it doesn't slow it down, doesn't make it difficult. Now, if you have to download something, let's say I'm downloading to make, I have to print something, I have to upload to my DMAC, I have to do my TEEP test, and you have to download something. As soon as you're done downloading it, feel free to then delete it and take it off of your desktop, because now it is available on your Google Drive. So for instance, all these that I've already uploaded and used, I don't need them anymore. Go ahead and take them off of your desktop and remove them so that it doesn't take up that space. Okay. And in your drive, same thing, you can add new folders so that I can get a new folder and I want to title it, I don't know, let's say third grade activities. For me, third grade activities. And now everything that I have in my drive, I can essentially move to that fits into the third grade activities. I can put them in there. And now you have an easier access to the different types of activities. And again, faster, more efficient way to access them. Okay, I'm going to take that off and go back to our.
Real quick, also for Drive. Oh, thank you, Lily. Make sure to delete it from your bin to clear memory from your laptop. Yes, so make sure you empty the recycle bin once you delete it. Thank you so much, Ms. Gutierrez. So another reason to upload everything to Drive, if you're like me, sometimes I'm working on my iPad, sometimes I'm working on my computer, sometimes I'm working on my phone, sometimes I'll work on my home computer. And I don't have to worry about saving it on a pen drive or anything as long as it's uploaded to Drive because I can access it from any of those devices. So I never have to worry about losing it. I don't have to worry about anything like that as long as I remember my password. So that's one of the great benefits of Google Drive. Let me go ahead and present here. I'm just going to present my entire screen. So we're going to move on to tabs. So again, if you're like me, I assume everyone is, because we all chose education for a reason, I think. You always have tons of tabs open, tons of tabs, tons of windows. And sometimes it can get a little exhausting. I know, especially for you all, maybe you teach multiple classes a day, a bunch of different lessons. And so you have all of these tabs open that pertain to that. So let me just show you a little trick. The first one is pinning tabs. So I always pin tabs that are important to me. You're the ones like Miss Miller has her dailies folder. I have my pinned daily tabs. So things like my email. If you can see, I'm here on my email tab. I'm going to go ahead and right click on it with my mouse. And then I'm going to hit pin. And you can see it becomes small. And what that does is keep it there for me. And so the next one is ClassLink. I'm going to right click and hit pin. And so now ClassLink is there too. And I can do that with as many as I would like. But I know that they're always going to be right here. You can change the order if you would like. And then, of course, you can unpin it and delete it. But even if I close Chrome and reopen it, my pin tabs should theoretically be there. Don't always trust that, though. Sometimes it's happened to me where they go away, but the majority of the time, they're there. But it's because sometimes Google will sign you out, and that's a big mess. So I know this has happened to everybody. You are, working on something, and oh no, ignore my happy frog guy. But oh no, the tab deleted. So the fastest way, the shortcut, right, on your keyboard, you're going to hit Control, Shift, and T, and it's going to open right up for you. You can also go into the three dots here. So let's say I closed it. You can go into your three dots, go into history, and Google has this section called recently closed tabs here in your history. And so you can see everything that has been recently closed, and then I can click to open it back up again. Miss Miller was saying earlier, if I close it, you can also right click on the tab up here, and it gives you the option, reopen close tab. So I'm gonna drop the shortcut in the chat, and don't close this window. Thank you, Miss Miller. But practice closing and reopening a window very quickly. It's super useful because sometimes you're in the middle of a lesson and you close out of the slide. So just practice real quick, 10 seconds, so that you all can see that.
Suggest pinning this window so you don't accidentally get logged out.
Okay, so hopefully everybody was able to reopen their closed tab. The last thing I have to say about tabs is grouping tabs. So it's kind of like making tab folders. So this is a newer feature, if I believe not the newest, but new-ish, right? So I'm going to go ahead and right click on a tab, and you can see I have an option that says the third one here, add tab to new group. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and this opens up. So like Miss Miller, I'm going to name mine dailies. I hope I spelled it correctly, and I'm going to put it in pink. And so now I have my dailies folder, and you can see everything that's outlined in the pink is in my dailies folder. If I wanted to add my mail to my dailies, I would right click, add to a group, dailies. And so now it's included in that. If I needed to, I could close this folder, and they're stored safely in there, I promise. If I click on it, it reopens. But that's another great way of organizing your tabs. Let's say you're doing a lesson. So let me use it with these. So I'm going to make a new group called lesson 1. And I'm going to save everything that goes into lesson 1 into that folder. And so it's all stored very neatly. When I need it, I can open it up. And when I don't need it, I close it down. If tomorrow I'm not going to use that lesson, all I have to do is I could ungroup and that opens up all my tabs for me. Or you can close the group. So I'm going to close it. And then it gets rid of it completely. So super, super easy way to organize your tabs if you're like me and I call it tab hoarding, but you're hoarding tabs. So does anybody have any questions as far as the tabs are concerned? I'm sure we all see the practical applications of that, but any questions? Okay, Ms. Miller, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you. So next on our list of passwords. We have a thing about passwords. And I know that a lot of teachers had to get new passwords at the beginning of the year. And so that changes a lot of where our passwords are, that when they get saved and then we have to change things. And so there is a place on Google, it's passwords.google.com, where you can go to it, and let me get into that window. So Passwords Manager, once you type in passwords.google.com, it pulls up your Passwords Manager. Now, I will be very honest. I have a thing about passwords. I don't give mine out. I don't share it, and I don't save it on my computer. So I have to make sure I re-enter it every time I go in, just because if anybody pushed enter, then they would have access to all that that I have. And well, I mean, when you're around middle school students or around very resourceful kids or my children at home, I don't want them to have that. So I don't save any of that. If you'll notice, the first time I went in here, I had probably 50 things because I used to save it on, just save my password. And so I had all these tabs with passwords that were saved, and it would show me, I could access what were my passwords. I could see what password was in, acceleratedlearning.com. You notice I have to verify my password first. So I'm showing that I am who I am. So that's a great way to know that you're going to have access. But I can ask, what is my password for Accelerated Learning? And I can show it here. And then I can add a note like, hey, it changed this year. I know that I had Skyward because my Skyward changed, my email changed. I had to change my password. Here's a great place that you can see your passwords and change them for those that aren't changed. I know a lot of our teachers, they have it saved, but when they changed at the beginning of the year, their Skyward didn't change. And so then they have to type it in every time. This is a great place to go and change that. Also, you can go to, it says go to password check. So you want to check your passwords. And I see I have one compromised password. I have 2 reused passwords and 3 accounts using a weak password. So it's a good idea to maybe go look that up, see what you have, and check on your passwords, or delete websites that you won't use, or maybe you'll see that there's other accounts and names on there for you. So this is a great place to go to check on your passwords. So make sure that you keep that in mind. And with that, I'm going to let you go with Vanessa. Any questions on the passwords?
Thank you, Ms. Miller. So the next thing is our Google Omnibar. So Google tries to make everything, even little stuff, very, very easy and intuitive for everybody. They do sometimes fun stuff. So this is a funny one. And so you can see I typed in do a barrel roll and they spun around. Or Google Gravity. I spelled gravity wrong. Gravity, and then you hit, oh man, Google Gravity, and then you hit I'm feeling lucky, and it'll bring up like the old original Google page, and then it'll all fall apart. So Google just does little stuff like that. That's like pretty funny and fun, but they also do useful things, I promise. So if you type into the search bar here, 10-minute timer, Google will pull one up and automatically start running it for you. It also has a stopwatch feature. And if you go into, y'all can see what I'm doing, right? Just want to be sure. Yes. If you go over here, this long list, there's hundreds of applications, but we're just going to go over a few. So math problem. So if you type in, let's say 3 times 4, Google will pull it up for you. And it even does more like harder equations, things like that. More difficult. That's the word I was looking for. I can't think today. But it'll pull them up automatically. So it also does things like how to pronounce a random number generator, which we'll look at right now. Flipping a coin, rolling a die, auto-translating, auto-converting from different units of measurement, the tip calculator, and the I'm feeling curious. So let's look at flipping a coin, and then we'll look at the I'm feeling curious. So it's preparing to flip this coin for me, and it's flipping, and you can say that I got tails. I can choose to flip it again. And again, I got tails. And there's a bunch of different ones that it'll show you down here. So again, the rolling of the die, meditating, a metronome, a tuner, a color picker, and a spinner. Let's look at the rolling a die because I really liked that one. So you can choose how many sides the die has. I don't know, maybe up to 100. Oh, 100 times. That's how many times. I don't know why I thought it was different sided die. But it'll keep rolling and rolling and rolling until you stop it. And it also has different sided die here. So this one's a, what do they call it? A D20. And so you can roll it that way. So very cool, I think. And then finally, the I'm feeling lucky. So I'm feeling lucky is kind of like one of those things that's been around since Google started. And it's just like, you want to randomly search. So it'll type in, it'll search for something random. So I'm feeling funny. So it'll bring up something random. So cool, bunch of different like little things that Google has, little tools to make our lives easier. We don't have to go searching for a timer. If your computer's on, all you have to do is present, and you can see it right there. Same thing with the random number generator or a die. There's a lot of different applications for that in the classroom, whether that be, in the math area or just for daily use, like calling different student names or things like that. Very helpful. So I don't know if anybody has any questions about that. And if I recommend that you all go through the Google tips and try to find new ones. There's a whole bunch of different ones. Things like, I know there's one about Chuck Norris that used to be popular when I was a little younger, and things like that, that Google, little tricks that they put up in there. So does anybody have any questions about any of those before we move on to what's next, the Google Images section? No? Okay. Ms. Miller? Okay, I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Going through to check about our images, because we found out earlier that our images for the district, I don't know if they changed it so that there's not easy access. But I'm looking up the images on my personal account on Gmail, and I do have access. So I think district closed it off. So but I am going to show you some images that we can do. Let's see. I was on my personal one. What are you? Yes, okay, good. So on the Google Images, you can search an image, and then you can, sometimes we need to for all of the kids, we need visuals. And it goes honestly with any concept that you're teaching high school all the way to elementary. And it's really important to have visuals. So when we're making a lesson or when we're stealing a lesson or whether we're getting one from online or we want to just put something fun real quick up on the board, Google has that search. But we can also search by the different types. So if I want to go to, I'm going to put a new tab. You can see my whole window, yes. So if I want to search for an image and I want to say lion, I'm going to teach on the lion habitat this week, let's say. So I want to click on images. And you notice that right away it tells us that we have to sign in. So it kicked me out of Google for whatever reason. As soon as we're looking at images, it's not allowing us to save like we used to be able to do. But I wanted to show you that tools right here. You can go by, I can check what kind of file size I want. I want a large, medium, or I want just an icon. I can change it by color. So let's say I want an icon. And now all these images are on that type A, that size. And then I want to, you know what? I'm going to put this on Teacher Pay Teachers. So I need a Creative Commons license. And so that I can be able to use this. And now these are the different ways, the different types. I can use clip art, line drawing, or GIF. So if I want to look, I have no matches with an icon. If I take off my icon, I put any size, I have a line drawing, and now I have all these different line drawings for my images. And so just so you know that you can do that. One of the things that I find that most of my teachers want because of putting it on a lesson or something is transparency. So if I go to my tools and I go to type on my, color. On my color, I want it transparent. And that way, when I copy this image, it will not have a background. Let's say, for whatever reason, you like this particular picture of this lion, but you don't want that background. There is a place that you can go, and it's called removebg.com. So if I go to save an image and I go to remove background, and it'll take me remove background, remove.bg, sorry. If I go click on here, remove BG, you can upload an image from your file. Go to my pictures, social media. If I take one of my flyers and I want to remove the background from it, I did it with my Screencastify. I don't have any idea. I already used them. Save pictures. Nope. Oh, those are my fun ones. Nope. I deleted all my stuff from my file. Let's say I go to, okay. I go to this line and I want this lion right here. I'm gonna save this image as, or I can just drop this image. Lion. Let's put it under pictures. And now I can put it into my file right here, pictures, and look for my lion. Hey, where'd it go? Didn't save it. Thank you. Save images. Lion. Oh, it's because I saved it as not an image. That's not available as an image. So then what do? I gotta find one that is available as an image. Save image as. If it's not available as a JPEG or PNG, notice it won't be able to upload that image. So that's good to know. Glad we went over that one. So now I can drop in my picture and it will edit it. And now I just have the picture of the lion without the background. And now I can put that anywhere in my file. So just FYI, you could also do this with students. If you want to make something with your students and you want to remove the background, put them together, something like that, this is also a tool that you can use. So remove.bg, and you can download it. Okay, so I go back here. And any questions on your Google Images?
I have it pulled up, Miss Miller. Let me see if it'll work with me right now. So we were talking a little earlier. Google's been a little fickle today. So we were talking about saving images. So Google does have something called Google Keep, where you kind of like move around from program to program and you keep those things and keep, right? And you're able to use it. But Google also has a place where you can save images. You know, people upload millions of images to, probably millions of images to Google every day. So if there's something that you like or you like to use, it's very likely that if you're just searching for it and using it from there, you're going to lose it. Or maybe you like to shop on Google. This is kind of like a out of the district thing because you can't necessarily use this we used to be able to use this on our district emails, but we can't anymore. But I just want to show you because I think it's a little practical. I typed in blob face smiley. I really love it. So you can see that once I open it, I have these 3 dots and I have the option to save it. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And so now if I click down here, add to favorite images, it's going to bring up my happy frog. It's going to bring up my favorite images. So things that I've saved. And that's at google.com/save. So all of these things are saved for me. If I ever need to go back to them, I can click and it'll open it up for me where it found it on Google. So very helpful, kind of like bookmarking or making something a favorite, but for images or for not websites, but images and shopping specifically. So we just wanted to highlight that a little bit. It wasn't working earlier, so I'm a little excited to get it working right now. But again, to go here, hopefully it works with me. Google.com/save. Now see it switched to my district one. And so this is what it looks like when it's empty, just so you all know. But let me move on to the next slide. Ms. Miller, if you would like to hop on in here, let me stop presenting.
I am going to show you about Google Docs. And something that I found it fascinating, I had no idea, was that when you get a PDF or you have a lesson or something that we need to edit or that we have, when we right click on an image or something like that, it could be, it doesn't have to be a PDF, it can be an image, JPEG, PNG, but if you open it with Google Docs, it now becomes something that we can work on. And that, to me, was very useful, depending on, what I wanted. But and I will be honest, it doesn't come out perfect the way you want. But let's say I have this PDF for this parts of the plant, and I want to edit it. I'm going to open it with Google Docs. And this is, again, just an example. So now this document, this PDF, is now available to me on Google Docs, and I can edit it, change it, add to it, take away from it, move it. And you'll notice it didn't come out exactly the way it was, but now I have the option to move things and change it to how you want it. Let's say, and something that I'm going to suggest to everyone, that when you're putting in images and any Google Docs, I would suggest moving it in front of text, because then you can move it anywhere on the document and you won't worry about aligning with the text. You can also do them back. The only problem is if you have a lot of text, then you try and grab the picture. Sometimes it'll you'll have a hard time. So I tend to move images in front of the text and put them where I need them. And again, you get to now edit what used to be my uneditable PDFs and lessons. So you can do this with different types of documents. And this, again, it's useful for the classroom when you're working on something for whether you're making a lesson. I suggest, I tell people don't pay for stuff. If you don't have to, I don't, if you want something easy, if you, take the time to just search for the free stuff available, and then you can make it yours, more personal for your class. And now it's something that is something more meaningful for your children, your students as well. Any questions on that? Yay.
Okay, so I'm hopping in here. One of my favorite things is up next, so I'm a little excited. So if everyone remembers, if you were around when the whole thing first started, when we were going online and with the computers, we had some issues with kids having copies of things or not getting copies or whatever. And then Google Classroom made it so that when you upload an assignment, you're able to choose whether or not each student gets their own copy or if they're collaborating all together. And so I'm going to show you all how to essentially force a copy, but also force a template and a presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and grab, well, we can do it from here. So I have this template here. I'm going to go ahead and copy the link. I'm going to bring it into my Word document here. So if you all can see, there's this last backslash. And if I remove everything after the word edit, I'm going to go ahead and drop in the word copy. And I'll put that in the chat for you all. If you click on it, you're going to see that it's going to ask you if you would like to make a copy. It's going to force you to make a copy. You're not able to see mine. You're not able to manipulate the one that I own. Nothing like that. All you're doing is making a copy of whatever it is I have. Similarly, let me go back to that. Similarly, if you want to provide somebody the option to make a copy, but you want them to be able to see it first, because one of the downfalls of the copy word, right, is that they're not able to see what they're copying. They just are making a copy of it. But if I type in template/preview, let me provide that for you all in the chat. You can see, and I'll throw it up on the screen as well. You can see that this page comes up and it's allowing me to see what it is I'm making a copy out of. And if I choose that I want to use it after that, I can click use template. And now I've made my own copy of it. So I really, really like that one, especially for collaboration, or if you're providing your students different choice boards or different activities, whatever it is. I really, really like that option. And then finally, force presentation. So I already used this one today. This is how you all are watching the presentation now, but I'm going to go ahead and click share and get the copy for this presentation. I'm going to go back into that document, put that link. And again, everything after that last slash, here I'm going to put present. And if I drop it into the chat for you all, and then put it up here, you all can see that it's going to automatically start the presentation that we're in, that I sent the link for. So that's one of those things that I really love. Not only does it work for your students, so they're not able to manipulate or make a copy or anything like that of your presentation, but Ms. Miller was saying earlier that, let's say you're doing, the little ones are doing a classroom presentation, or even if you're doing like a GT showcase, you can use that present link to have them all prepared and ready to go so that there's no fumbling with the program, logging into different accounts or anything like that. Like they're just all ready to go. So I hope you all see how useful this could be in the classroom or in any school application, really. But if y'all don't have any questions, or Ms. Miller, if you have anything to add, you can go ahead and go on. Let me stop presenting here.
Thanks, Vanessa. You got it. Awesome. What I have is the extensions now. So let me go to that. So we have different extensions that are available to us. Now, you can see I have this extensions bar, and I used only so many of them. Now, if you add some that you have, some great ones for my teachers. Remote for Slides allows the ability to take your phone and make it a control for your slides. So that way you can walk around the room, but you can actually move your slides around. If the immersive reader and read aloud, they give the ability to read text aloud. These things are, I think of my extensions for my accommodations, my SPED 504, or for my tiny kids, anybody that needs help with the being read to, or they don't understand how some of these things work, especially for elementary little ones. These are great extensions that you can add on to their bar, and they will now be able to have something read to them. Extensity, let me explain Extensity. Extensity is an extension that allows you to enable or disable extensions that you don't use very much. For instance, you'll see here are my extensions. I can turn it on or turn it off and give me the ability. So these are, for instance, Remote for Slides. I now have it available at the top for me, or I can turn it off because I don't use it very much anymore. So I don't use Jamboard anymore. Because we have it as a Google, it's there for me. I don't use it, so I turned it off. If I have Nearpod for Classroom, I want to keep that on, and I'm now going to be able to access Nearpod with my different slides or different activities that I'm doing. So, oh man, should have known. So here are some cool things that you can go through. I'm just going to go through it really quickly. Radio Garden allows you to access radios from around the world. It will hone in on your city and where you're at, your location, and it will give you different options for different stations that are available at that moment in that city. You can move it around and you can get access to the different cities around the world, different places around the world, and get their radio stations. So that can be interesting to show different types of music, or if you're going to go into culture or social studies places, things like that. That's something that is available to you. Auto Draw, I will go into that one. Make music, if you want, for our kids that are not always so academically inclined, but they are very creative, and then they tend to be able to make music or create a video or TikTok. These kids are amazing with this stuff, but it is a website that allows you to make music, and they can create something. And of course, always relate it back to my TEKS and not just for my music teachers, but have these kids create something with music that makes them feel more comfortable rather than just our typical, 9 ABC multiple choice tests and questions and quizzes. Emoji Fun, a geography expert. They gives locations at anywhere around the world. And then our Slides Carnival, I would suggest for every teacher to get access to Slides Carnival. If you haven't checked it out, it gives you different templates for the slides, and it is amazing. So it has, hundreds of different slides, templates that are available to you. Use them. Don't try and create your own if you don't have to spend the time doing it. Steal, borrow, use, and turn into your own. And real quick, Auto Draw, I'm going to go into it. I am a terrible artist. I tried to draw a lion earlier. It didn't work. I'm going to try and draw an elephant just because I think it'll be easier. But let's see if I can get, oh, that's not looking quite like an elephant, is it? But I have and it'll automatically give me up at the top, did you mean to draw? And it will give me the different types, and then I can choose. Yes, I was trying to draw an elephant. Look at that. And now I don't have to worry so much about this. I can use this to show my drawing of my vocabulary word, and I don't have to try and guess what these kids were trying to draw or what I was trying to draw. But it gives you different options of what you wanted to draw. And you can see that it's like, oh, you're really bad. Here's all the different options. But now, as you start drawing and the more detail you get, the more your options will change. So just FYI, that is a really cool tool, especially for our people that try and, or kids that want to draw vocabulary words. Okay, so those are the extensions for me. Vanessa, any questions on any of those?
Miller. So I was telling Ms. Miller earlier that auto draw could be good for, it's a nice accessibility tool for students who have interest in creativity or expressing themselves a certain way, but maybe they have dyspraxia or their fine motor movement conditions where they're unable to draw, traditionally, or they have issues holding a pencil. And so the auto draw guesses what they're drawing, and it makes it easy for them to use. It has a lot of ease of use as far as accessibility is concerned. And so considering that, moving into the next slide here, I'm going to show you all a little bit about live transcribe and notifications. So this isn't necessarily something that you can use on your computer. It is available on Google, but through like Google Phones or Google Tablets. And so it's an accessibility app for those that are hard of hearing or deaf. And so essentially, I'll show you the video right now, but essentially what it does is that it listens to what's going on, and then it displays text on the screen. And it does it in over 80 languages. So let me pull up a video here. I don't think that the audio will play, but I'm more a lot of the kind of just what it looks like. So you all see what it did there. That's exactly what it looks like when you use it. I have it on a phone here at home. And so as you're speaking, even if music is playing, even if there's tons of people talking in the background, somehow it's able to pick up what it is that you're trying to listen to, like if you're having a conversation, and it'll display those words on the screen. It's really, really great. And then you can also type stuff into the screen to reply by typing. I really love it. If you all are interested in downloading it, if you have a Google-based phone, you can download it here with this QR code. I'm still looking for a feasible alternative on the iPhone. I think that they do have the Google one, but if I'm not mistaken, the last time I checked, you have to pay for it. But if you have an Android, I really recommend, if there's ever an instance where you are with somebody who's hard of hearing or deaf, or if you yourself suffer from, hearing loss. I know that especially with loud music, or maybe you go to the ranch and stuff like that, we all have a little bit of hearing loss. And so it's a really good tool that makes things accessible for people with those conditions. Similarly, the Google Talking Translator. So while this isn't necessarily an accessibility feature, it does help to accommodate our EB students or our ELs. So let me stop and present a tab, because this one you all need to hear, I think, and it's a short video. So I'm going to stop presenting and then present a tab in particular. There is an ad, but let me skip it. So if y'all can see, my favorite feature was, I don't know why I thought this was the one where they were speaking to each other. But my favorite feature is this one. As you're speaking, let me go ahead and mute it here. As you're speaking, it's recording you and then translating on the other side of your phone. So you could be showing it to the person that's in front of you if you all speak different languages. I think it's a great tool for practicing. For our EB students, they could speak in their native language. So whether that be Spanish or something else, and it can auto translate to English and they can practice saying phrases back and forth. Or even our younger students, our students who are in pre-K 3, pre-K 4 coming in bilingual, they can practice saying vocabulary words, sight words. Maybe you're a second language teacher, so maybe you teach Spanish or French. All of those things are, all of these tools are available to us to use in the classroom. Again, this is an Android-based application. But once I find it for like a feasible alternative that's free for iPhone, I will be emailing those things over to everybody just because I think it's such a cool tool and we have the iPads already in the classroom. So I think it'd be something great to use. So I don't know if there are any questions as far as those are concerned, or maybe accessibility or anything like that as far as these two programs, the Live Transcribe and the Google Talking Translator. Okay, so Ms. Miller, I'll let you take it.
Okay, so I have the Google search tools, and these are some tools that are available that you might not have been aware of. And I learned of these, and it's really cool, really easy. But when you look for something, let's say go to, again, Lion, and I'm going to go to images. If I'm going to just hold on to it, like if I want to move it, and you'll notice that it says search any image with Google Lens. So I'm going to drop this image here. And this is basically saying that we can, all the places that you can find it on the internet and where it's available, where they see something similar, or where this image is found. So just so you know, these are where you can search. Google will search for you on a particular image. And I thought that was pretty neat. Let me go to Talk to Books. Reverse image search if works similarly, but just so you know, you can click on these and Google fact check. These are just for. I wasn't going to go into them, but I said it might as well. Let's go. So recent fact checks. These are cool for people that we hear. Notice it'll say, hey, there's drinking soft drinks can increase the testosterone. And we find out that's mostly false. And then it gives us the source where you can find that information. So is 2023 the coldest San Diego winter on record? And it's like, no, that's false. And here's where you can find that information. So these are claims that you might see recently that are out there. And you can look up something and find something that fact check and see if it is correct. So that's just one of those things that you can do quickly.
Can I add to that, Ms. Miller?
Yes,
I know
please.
I know more at the high school level, but also when they start writing in the 4th grade and middle school, we do a lot of lessons on the validity of our sources and things like that. And so that fact check tool, I think it'd be really cool to present as a lesson for the validity of what you hear, because right now, with the internet and social media, our kids believe anything they read, anything they see. So I think that's a really great tool specifically for that.
And Talk to Books. So Vanessa really likes this. I do too. If you notice that we have, I want to use alliteration or rhyming, or if I want to get a metaphor, I want to find out where books are. You'll notice that it says these are browse passages from books using this experimental AI, but it even has the different ways to use it. So if I want to, well, I'm going to say, let's see, you used, I love the smell of rain. I love the smell of rain. Now it gives me all of these passages that it comes out in these books that talk about I love the smell of rain or something very similar with those words in it. And it has the different books that you can find it in. So let's say you want a metaphor or a simile. Let's see. Well, I don't know. The sun smiled down on me. Let's see. Sun smiled. We use personification. The sun smiled down on me. I can find it on these types of books, these books right here, and then you can use that, show real world examples, these kids, where they use that in these books. It's something similar. How else have they used it, and how else have you seen personification? So you can get these really quickly in books that have been used, or find out places that you can go to find the same similar ideas. And the last one is the reverse image search. So if you go into images, I'm going to search by image this time. I can drag and upload. And Vanessa's been using her frog today. I'll use my lion just because that's what I have here. And it will show me, again, where this image is. And notice it's like I want to find where this is at. If you find a cup or a mug, or find something that the kids, a vocabulary word that they're trying to learn, you can get a picture and then we can search it here and then find other places where they find it in similar items or how much it is, so that they can understand all these different concepts that before were not at our fingertips and now they are.
To add to that, Ms. Miller, so the big difference between Google Lens and what was the other one? Reverse image search.
Yes.
Google Lens, I think, started more like as an app. And so it was kind of like you could, like, let's say you liked somebody's shoes, right? You could scan a picture of their shoes and it would tell you like where to buy them. So Google Lens is kind of more like a shopping tool or whatever. And the way that I know that people use reverse image search is, let's say, kind of, I've seen people use it like as a scavenger hunt or a puzzle. And so they provide like an image and then they'll say like, what 19th century, whatever artist painted this picture. And so they'll have to figure that out, right? And then they'll have a question that leads them to the next clue. And so the way that they figure it out is by reverse searching the image. And so let me just real quick to add on to what Ms. Miller was saying a little bit. This is my husband is a Google fanatic. And so he talks about these things nonstop. But so if I go into Google here and I type in like, I don't know, like shoes, and I go into images, even though Lens works more like as an app, if I click here, you can see that the Lens logo is here at the bottom. And then if I type on it, it'll pull up visual matches that I can use. Now they use it more how Ms. Miller was saying, like you find it different places on the internet, but it's supposed to, the intention is for shopping, or it was when it started. And so it'll pull up very similar things. And so that's the big difference between Google image search and that other one. So yeah, but let me go ahead and move on here. Thank you, Ms. Miller. So these are just some fun little things. So this is a mindful break extension. Let me go ahead and download it. I had it downloaded previously, but I did want to do it with you all. So if you are somebody who has a hard time taking a breath, I know things especially have been recently very stressful with testing coming up and stuff like that. There is this mindful break extension, and so it does pop up periodically to remind you to take a breath. But you can also click on it if you feel like you need one, and it'll give you a little statement here. So this one in particular says, when you experience an unpleasant emotion. Oh, wait, am I presenting? Yes. Remember that you have the power to change the situation, then accept the choice that you've made. And then you can also click to try a breathing exercise. And when you press play, it'll ask you to, that's breathing in. And then the opposite way is breathing out. So really nice way to take a little break. It's something that you can do with your students. So when you all see it pop up, they can also take this mindful break breathing exercise. I don't think that mindfulness is something that'll harm or distract the students. Sometimes it's exactly what they need. And I've done it before in classrooms. You take brain breaks, you take mind breaks. Very, very helpful. Read along app, Ms. Miller kind of touched on this earlier. So I'm going to open it. We're not on a phone. But if you all do have phones at home, or maybe you have them in the classrooms, we do have phones with our VR kits. So this is a reading app. And so it's essentially Read Along by Google. It's a game where students read through words and passages. It kind of moves up as it goes. But what I liked best about it, because you can see here, there is independent reading, but the best part is this person down here. And she's like a friendly little helper that helps when students are struggling with the words. And so she will say words if they need help. They click on it and she will say the words. Here, blending sounds and stuff like that. They're collecting stars and badges and spelling. And she helps with all of that too. So especially good for students who have difficulties in reading, or maybe they're just now learning to read for our really little ones. Very, very fun game. They seem to like it because they get to collect points and stuff like that and then buy things from the store. So they really love it. And it's also culturally nice or culturally acceptable because they have a lot of different collection of stories from all over the world. I'll just show you this one very quickly, the Google Earth time lapse. And so this one I think is just cool to look at. So it'll go to a place on the earth and show you a time lapse over the last 37 years or so, what it looked like in all of those different years when the Google satellite took a picture. And so you can see, and you can also choose the year down here. And pause. So in 2004, this is what the Columbia Glacier Retreat looked like. And then if we move this way, this is what it looked like in 2020. So great for history lessons or even science when you're discussing things like erosion, or things like that. I'm sure there's a lot of different applications for it. Maybe you need a timetable for something, an excerpt that you're reading in an ELA class or something like that. But really, really great. And a nice visual for our students for real world application. And then finally, Google Dictionary. I welcome you all to put this on your computers. If you have students who use a dictionary in the classroom, I encourage you to have them add this to their computers too. So it's a dictionary for Google Chrome. Essentially, it'll define anything on the page for them. But again, it only works on Google Chrome and not on every single website, but the majority of them. So if there's somebody who needs a dictionary, maybe you do. I know I definitely do sometimes. I'm always just typing into Google, like, what does this word mean? You can have one right at your fingertips with the extension. So I don't know if there are any questions about any of these 4 different ones. I would like for everybody to go ahead and add the extension of the mindful break right now to their Chrome, just so that we could do it all together. Take a minute to have a little mindful break. Or would you all, let's instead do it from my computer. Let's do the breathing. So let me open it over here with the shoes. So everybody just take a breath for a minute. We're gonna breathe in and breathe out. Oh wait, breathe in. I'm all wrong, guys. Okay, so that was the 1 minute. You can see it went by quicker than I'm sure we'd like. And our mindful break right now is when you're chatting with friends, be sure to be present. So I really, really like that extension. It reminds me to slow down sometimes. So does anybody have any questions about, again, any of these extensions before we move on to the next slide? No? Okay. Oh, you know what, Miss Miller, I'll just go ahead and throw it back up. I don't know why I removed it.
I was gonna say, well, no, actually, you know what? Yes, throw up your window, and I'm gonna actually ask you to do some things. I'm gonna ask everybody else also. So, we didn't give you a chance, but I would like to give you 2 minutes. I would like you to make a folder on your bookmarks bar, just because we gotta practice what we're talking about, right? So, Vanessa, you're first on my list. I'm watching your bookmarks bar, and I'm saying, hey, do you have a folder on your bookmarks bar? Bookmarks bar.
I have these folders.
Yay! Awesome. So I want to give you guys a couple of minutes to make those bookmarks bar. But I also had something to add. I was realizing when we went onto our YouTube, a lot of people don't know this, but I don't like YouTube because of the ads that come out. So Vanessa, will you go to YouTube a minute? You were on there a second ago. Awesome. There is a website that you can type in, and I'm going to put it up here on the chat. But if you go to it, viewpure.com, okay? If you, I should type it in with www. If you go to viewpure.com, you can take any video that you use online. And Vanessa, if you look down, go down, stay on the Viewpure real quick and go down where you see it, use the Purify button. If you take that little blue button, you can actually drag it onto your bookmark bar. And now it shows Purify. And what happens is every time that you go to a YouTube video, so let's say you found your video on whatever it was, click on your YouTube, the video that you were on. Awesome. Now click on the Purify link right there. And what's going to happen is it's going to take your video, it's going to purify it, and all you will have is that video, and it won't go to another video afterward. It won't continue. It'll stay there, and you can rewatch it. But that I tell my teachers a lot, but it's something that it's an easy fix for taking away ads, taking away playing on something else, or going on to something else. Some things that you do need to understand when they throw up links on here, like on the YouTube video, they can access it. So like I watch a lot of the Amoeba Sisters when I was teaching science in middle school, and they have links to go to another video. They can access that. When you, let's say you give this, because I give the Viewpure link to my students and I put it up on there so that it automatically goes to that without going through YouTube. So just FYI, this is a really good place to go whenever, before you show a screen, if you want to look for a video, freeze your projectors and then go to it and then just hit that Purify button, and it will automatically take it to this place. So that's something to keep in mind.
That's very nice. I had never seen that before. I'm going to add it in my bookmarks folders.
Okay, so we'll go to the exit ticket.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and put the exit ticket. If I could ever find any of my tab, this is why I needed all my tab organization today. But I'm going to go ahead and share this with you all so that you all can participate with our exit ticket. So it's going to have a question for you. And that question is, what was your favorite Google tip or tool that we went over today? So I'm going to go ahead and present. These are the answers from earlier. I'll show them to you all right now once a couple of more people answer. But so we just want to know, what was your favorite Google tip or tool? So we'll give you all a minute or so to answer this question, and then we'll move on.
Awesome, Lily.
So see that these are some of the answers that we've had. People really liked the Google Live transcribe and the Radio Garden. They liked the idea of all the folders, organizing the files in the drive, talk to books, the communication tool, the conversion of the PDF files. So make sure that you all are participating and answering this question. Oh, are we putting it in the chat? That works for me too.
Yes, I love it. I love it, Mr. Ferdinand. That's awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Ferdinand. And thank you, Lily. I really like the Google read along too. I think it's so cute and useful. And so fun, everyone. I'm sorry, what?
I was gonna say, I'm gonna go ahead and put on the feedback form.
Yeah.
So that's in the chat.
So again, everybody, thank you all so much for joining us for our presentation today. We really would appreciate if you all would fill out our training feedback form so that we know how we're doing as far as trainings are concerned. Please follow Laredo ISD at on Twitter at Laredo at LISD 811 News, and on Facebook at LISD Instructional Technology Program 811. My name is Vanessa Silva. I work at Kristen Middle School. My email is vgsilva@laredoisd.org, and my extension is 6559. You're more than welcome to contact me at any time with any questions that you might have, or if you're interested in anything that we presented in this video. I'm more than welcome, in this training, I'm more than welcome to share.
I'm Jennifer Miller. You can find me at jlmiller@laredoisd.org. My extension is 4306. That is forwarded to my cell phone, so please feel free to call anytime. Email, text, all of those work. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Please give us any constructive feedback, anything, well, good and bad. We want to hear so we can always improve. I appreciate that you took your time on a Saturday to be here. And just a reminder that we have the other trainings. I believe Vanessa was going to show where
let me pull it up. So unfortunately,
professional learning.
The morning sessions are near over, but there are sessions available this afternoon for our Dr. Seuss themed spring conference is what I'm going to call it. And so this afternoon at 1 p.m. there is Your Mountain is Moving with Digital Tools for Littles, session A. And also at 1 p.m. Let's Get on Our Way with Digital Escape Rooms. And then at 2:45 there is Your Mountain is Moving with Digital Tools for Littles, the second session, and then the second session for the escape rooms as well. So if you have any interest, please make sure that you register and that you attend those trainings. They're both virtual. And we do have other trainings coming up, so please keep an eye out on your emails, or you can call IT with any questions about upcoming trainings, or you can contact your site-based DLS, or either of us. So if you all have any questions, please let us know. Please make sure that you registered for today's training as well as signed in with the remote check-in code. And this is the time for questions and answers. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them now, whether that be in the chat or out loud. But if there's no questions, you all are more than free to go and enjoy your Saturday. Please, again, join us for those trainings in the afternoon, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Saturday morning.